Get your Dead and Buried Treasures merchandise at redbubble.com with the search words Dead and Buried Treasures. T-shirts, travel mugs, hoodies, blankets, phone cases, and much, much more. You too can even take a shower with Captain Calico Drake with a shower curtain.
This is ridiculous. How is this even possible?
That's redbubble.com and use the search words Dead and Buried Treasures. So what are you waiting for? You too can be as cool as a pirate.
Yes, of course.
That's redbubble.com and search for Dead and Buried Treasures. Redbubble.com.
That I thought I would dabble in the art world myself.
That's redbubble.com and search for Dead and Buried Treasures.
They'll no doubt want to pay top dollar for me service.
Good evening and welcome once again to WDBT Pirates Radio. You are listening to The Pirates Booty, the official after show of Dead and Buried Treasures, where for the next hour we're going to be taking your calls on the latest episode of Dead and Buried Treasures. We just got done watching the new episode where we hosted the Boris Karloff classic, The Ghoul. And we'll be taking your booty calls for the next hour or so until they tell us to get out, or so to speak. Tonight's show is sponsored, as always, by Redbubble, where you can get all of your Dead and Buried Treasures merchandise, hats, t-shirts, laptop sleeves, clocks, shower curtains, you name it, they got it at redbubble.com. Just do the search for, just do a search with using the code words Dead and Buried Treasures and look for the store of Captain Calico Drake. And as a reminder, during the pandemic, we're all doing our part, and all the profits, all the proceeds, the profits, whatever you want to call it, all the profits made from anything you buy on Redbubble, a coffee cup, a mouse top, a mouse pad, those kind of things. All the proceeds, all the profits from that are donated to the American Humane Society. Animals need love too, especially during this time of the pandemic, and people tend to forget that. And so we are doing our part to help save our four-legged friends. We're also sponsored tonight by, as always, Phoenix Comics and Toys, the home of our fan club, where you too can become a part of all the fun for the show and get your Captain Calico Drake decoder statue by becoming a member of the fan club. And with that same fan club membership that is officially endorsed, and why can't I talk tonight? It's officially endorsed by Captain Calico Drake himself. You also get a welcome letter. You get an 8x10 signed photo of the captain and Jack that's exclusive to the club. You get a quarterly newsletter with all the latest happenings on what's going on with the club. You get, of course, the decoder statue and a whole lot more. Just check it out. Phoenix Comics and Toys. Look for them on Etsy and Facebook. And they're our other sponsor for tonight. So the phone lines have been lighting up before the episode even ended. I guess there's a lot going on, and it's hard to believe because it is, oh my gosh, so early Saturday morning. What is it, after 2 o'clock in the morning? Almost 3? I don't know. I don't have a clock in here in the room with me, but I know it's late Saturday night, or late Friday night, early Saturday morning, and the phone lines, we have a whole bunch of stuff in the queue for you, and let's get to some of your booty calls as we speak. Who we got first? Okay, we got Philip. Is this right? Philip from Bethel Park, is that right? Okay, yeah, Philip from Bethel Park. Good evening, Philip. You're on the Pirates Booty. Welcome.
Hey, Captain. I'm actually going to a school nearby that George Romero started a few years ago down in Menneson. We watch your show at Fayette County all the time, me and my girlfriend. Mm-hmm. Tonight we saw your Facebook premiere around midnight, and we were kind of torn as which one to watch because the one on SCTV that began at 11, it didn't end until like 1:30 in the morning. And we were kind of torn on which one to watch because your Facebook show came on at midnight. So we kept going like back and forth and watching both of the shows. But you guys are doing a great job. I think Drake's hilarious, Jack, Davey Bones, all you guys. Special effects are great. Everything's just pretty amazing. I enjoy the show, and I do appreciate you guys taking my call. See you guys later.
Oh, well, thank you, Philip. I appreciate the kind words, as always. I guess I didn't really think that one out. We had our Facebook premiere tonight as well, and we wanted to start a new time slot. Everybody says when you're on Facebook, you get a lot more viewers, so we thought we'd give it a shot. So there's another horror host show called The Mummy and the Monkey, and we thought we would follow them. We know that they're on at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on Facebook, and they wrap up around midnight, so we thought we'd launch our show on Friday night at midnight. It seemed like a really cool, evil time to do so. But if you're watching in Fayette County, or if you're watching in BPTV at Bethel Park, our show comes on early at 11 with a 10:30 pre-show. And you're watching, and you're listening now to the after show that comes on after those shows, but it's on Facebook even later. So, and if it gets really confusing, because our PCTV audiences in downtown Pittsburgh, tonight I believe was our late show where another episode of Dead and Buried Treasures came on at 2 o'clock. Is that right? 2 o'clock in the morning. So if you watch the rest of this and you turn on channel 21 downtown, boom, you'll see even more Dead and Buried Treasures. So I appreciate the kind words. It was nice to hear from you, Philip. And thank you for watching everywhere. 412-691-3803 is the pirate hotline. Next we have John from Carnegie. John, how are you tonight?
Yes, I love your show very much, including the pre-show.
Thank you.
But for some reason on our cable channel, FiOS 32 in Bethel Park, the sound is always very distorted. And that's unfortunate because we really, enjoy the show. But, up until about a month ago, there was no sound at all. So I guess this is an improvement. We just have to live with. Okay, well, continue. Good luck in the future, Captain.
Well, I tell you what, thank you so much for the call, John. I will inform the powers that be of the technical issues going on Verizon 32. We're seeing a lot, and on a lot of different affiliates, and it's not always the same thing playing on every affiliate, because I know for tonight, for example, our 11 o'clock show was in Bethel Park, or BPTV was the Ghoul. Same thing on our Facebook premiere. 2 o'clock in the morning, it's A Bucket of Blood. At 11 o'clock in Fayette County, I believe it was Chopping Mall. So we have a lot of Dead and Buried Treasures on Friday night, but I will pass those comments along to our technical staff over at BPTV regarding the sound quality and the sound issues. I appreciate the call. 412-691-3803 is the number. If you'd like to get in the queue, we have the phone lines are pretty filled right now. We're going to try to stay on the air for the next 50 minutes. We try to do about, maybe an hour show or maybe a little less, depending on how late it gets and how long the calls go. But that's what we try to do. Tonight's show, again, is sponsored by Redbubble, your home for Dead and Buried Treasures merch, the official merch for Dead and Buried Treasures, and of course by Phoenix Comics and Toys, where you can get the Captain Calico Drake Decoder statue and become a member of the fan club with exclusive merchandise and contest exclusive only, where you can win prizes to members of the club. That's 412-691-3803. Tonight we have another call coming up here. This is Steve from Pittsburgh. Is that correct? In the queue? Steve from Pittsburgh. Steve, how are you tonight? How's things going?
Thank you, Eric, for taking my call.
You bet.
Another great show as always. Didn't you advertise this show back in March after the long-haired death with Barbara Steele?
We did. I appreciate you bringing that up. This was supposed to be our show what happened was we were recording this back in March, got about halfway done with it, and then the pandemic happened and it shut everybody down. So we had to put it on the shelf until we could officially figure out how to finish. And then about a month after that, I said, well, I got to do something. So we ended up inserting an episode that we did where we hosted the movie DOA, and I thought, let's write a pandemic episode, like we're quarantined, that kind of thing. And that worked out pretty well. But this one was still sitting on the shelf. So we decided to move forward with this episode. I think it was about 98% done. There was only a couple of scenes that needed to be done, and we were trying to think, how can we do it? And if you look closely at the end of the episode, we couldn't record it. We could never get on the same page to go back over and shoot it in front of a green screen. So I actually had Dana, who plays Professor Gertie, send me a voicemail with her lines, and I put them on utilizing stock footage at the end. It's so bargain basement, where she's constantly moving around like she's picking something up off the floor. And I put those voices on at the end where she kind of comes to and realizes, oh, what's going on? What was going on? And I'm like, all right, you were causing all kinds of havoc, of course, and you were possessed. And then I had to put those lines in post-production, and that's what was holding us up the whole time. And we had shot all of this just as the pandemic hit, and we never got a chance to finish. So, yes, this was the original episode that was supposed to air right after the Barbara Steele movie, The Long Hair of Death. That's kind of funny you noticed.
Yeah. I thought so. I get it.
Yep.
I get it. I was wondering because I'm a big fan of Egyptology and the mummy movies and things like that. And I saw this one advertised, but you did the one with DOA.
Yes.
Both were great episodes. This one, it was really looking good.
Oh, thank you very much.
Really looking good. So, hey, thank you so much for taking my call. I'm sorry. And thanks for keeping things going during this pandemic.
Oh.
It's nice to get our minds off of all the crap going on here, So,
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, and I appreciate the call. Yeah, this is a unique opportunity for horror hosts. I guess maybe me particularly, or maybe other horror hosts, that we can still provide new material if we do it right, utilizing old movies. So, Hollywood is shut down, and it's a lot easier for people when they do local programming to produce stuff like that. So it is kind of nice, and I appreciate the kind words. It's the least we can do is to put some smiles on people's faces and let everybody forget about sometimes the real horror movie of the world, what's going on right now. So it's my pleasure. Thank you so much. I appreciate the kind words, Steve. 412-691-3803 is the number. That's the Pirate's Booty, where we will be taking your booty calls, hopefully in another 45 minutes. We will be right back after this.
Phoenix Comics and Toys has done it again.
My decoder's here!
Yar, me hearties! The Dead and Buried Treasure Fan Club is now accepting new crew.
Wow, Jonathan Benson at H7.
Each fan club kit contains one decoder statue with a secret compartment containing your doubloon, one autographed photo of the Captain and Jack, and one welcoming letter. Yar!
My gold doubloon!
Decode each episode's code for a chance to win prizes. Yar! Set sails to Etsy and...
You just can't get enough of Dead and Buried Treasures. You say you want to jam an earring into your lobe because you want to be a pirate so much? And you love ghost stories and other haunted tales to boot and just can't wait for the weekend. Well, Before you cause a lawsuit or need a doctor, check out this bonus during the week. Wicked Wednesday Watch Parties. That's right, fiends. Join us on Facebook every Wednesday night at 9, a much earlier time slot for all the little mateys out there, for rebroadcasts of Dead and Buried Treasures classics, often discussing the show in the chat room with Calico Drake himself, along with other stars of the show. Plus, if you turn into our Facebook page at 8:30, you'll see a classic episode of Walk the Plank to gear you up for the night ahead. That's Wicked Wednesday Watch Parties, premiering at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Facebook, each Wednesday night, if you dare. 8:30 p.m. with Walk the Plank. But remember, only the truly courageous will make it to the end.
WDBT Radio, that is Pirates Radio, the Pirates Booty. Welcome back to the after show of Dead and Buried Treasures. I'm series creator Erik Sprowls, and I play Captain Calico Drake. And for the next 45 minutes or so, at the top of the hour, bottom of the hour, however you want to call it, we will be taking your phone calls, or your booty calls, answering questions to tonight's show. Up next is Donna from Homestead. Donna, how are you tonight?
Yes, my name is Donna White, and yes, I enjoy the Dead and Buried Treasures.
Oh,
I
good.
like them kind of movies and show more of them. Thank you. Be careful, stay safe, and have a good night. God bless.
Donna? Well, okay. Well, thank you very much, Donna. I appreciate the kind words. That's always appreciated. Yeah, that's why we do it. We like to have a lot of fun doing this. And you know what? Let me bring something up because I just remembered this. We have a caller that calls in once in a while. His name is Colin, and I think he's from Charleroi. And he called in last time on the show, maybe it was 2 shows ago, and sent me on a bit of a, not a goose chase, but something that looked interesting. I didn't know it, but he sent me on the straight and narrow. He said there was a movie out there called The Legend of the 7 Golden Vampires, and wanted to know if we could host it on the show. I said, well, I'll take a look and see what the status is on it. And when he explained it to me, apparently it was in the Christopher Lee, Peter Cushing era, when Christopher Lee was Dracula, and he did like a trilogy of them. I think he did Dracula AD, and then another Dracula film, and then in the 50s, and then he did 2 in the 70s. He did Dracula in the 50s, then he did Count Dracula AD in the 70s, and he also did Count Dracula and His Vampire Brides, otherwise known as the Satanic Rites of Dracula. And I guess Warner Brothers bought all of those back, and they're going to release them on Blu-ray as a trilogy or something like that. But the reason I bring that up is he said, no, there's another one out there called The Legend of the 7 Golden Vampires. I said, there is? He says, yeah, but Christopher Lee turned it down, but Peter Cushing did not. So Peter Cushing plays Van Helsing, and he tracks down somebody else that plays Count Dracula. I said, get out of town. I didn't know that. And he said, yeah. So I went out and I'm researching it right now. I'm actually watching it later tonight, or maybe tomorrow. It's pretty late. And we're going to take a look at it and see if we can't get that on the show. Thank you, Colin, for the tip. Maybe you'll call in tonight, and Colin will call in, and then we'll talk about it a little bit more. But thank you for the tip. We may end up hosting that. 412-691-3803 is the number for the Pirates Booty. We'll be taking your booty calls for the next, 40 minutes now, or I guess, till the top or the bottom of the hour. We have, who's this call right here? Is this Georgetown, Texas? Is that correct? Oh, he saw the show on Facebook. Right, yeah. Our next caller is from Georgetown, Texas. What's his name? You didn't catch it? All right. So our next caller is from Georgetown, Texas. How are things in Georgetown?
Hey, Captain. I love your show.
Thank you.
This is the first time I'm here, and this is a fun place to be during the pandemic.
Oh, thank you.
So I like it. Keep it going.
We will do so. Thank you for the kind words. And I like to hear from callers from not just in the Pittsburgh area. That's our flagship station area where we produce the show here in Pittsburgh. But now that we're on Facebook and YouTube, we're kind of worldwide. So if you have calls from wherever, hell, call us up. We like it. We like talking to people to see what they think of the show. 412-691-3803 is the number for WDBT. It's our official podcast for Dead and Buried Treasures. We just watched the latest episode tonight where we hosted the movie The Ghoul with Boris Karloff. And next we have, here's a good one. This is Karen calling from Louisville, Kentucky. How do you pronounce that? Is it Louisville? 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 I learned this years ago. A former student of mine, Ryan Fedor, gave me a little bit of an education. Said it's actually called Louisville. Louisville. If you're a native of the area, I guess. Is that right? But Louisville, if you're from outside of the area, is that right? Yeah, well, either way, we have Karen calling from Kentucky. Karen, how are things in Kentucky tonight?
Hi, Eric.
Hi.
First-time caller, but long-time viewer. Thank you for taking my call.
You bet.
I'm just amazed that a show like this, produced locally, is so good. I mean, the effects in it are great. The writing is awesome. This is one of the best horror host shows I've seen, and I've watched these kinds of things for a long time. Everything from Chili Billy to Elvira. I've actually met some of the hosts at conventions, too. And most of the time, the hosts just introduce the movie or the commercial break. But you guys have a side story that runs along with the show and complements it. It's so creative.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. When you say produced locally, it's not produced in Kentucky. I mean, you understand that. Oh, what's that? Oh, she's a Pittsburgher who relocated to Kentucky. Okay, I got it. Sorry about that. We take a lot of pride in the show and how we put it together. It's complicated. It really is. But it's kind of neat that being from Pittsburgh, you get a chance to see a little taste of what's going on back here down in Kentucky. Thank you again for watching. It's really awesome that you know that, or you feel that.
Who does the special effects for your show?
Well, I do. I said a few episodes back, I feel like Eddie Murphy in The Nutty Professor, where you remember if you ever watched the Nutty Professor movies with him, he would always play multiple characters all at once. And he also played Sherman Klump, who was the Nutty Professor himself. I play Captain Drake. I also write everything. I also edit everything. I'm also the voices of both
Jack, my first mate,
and
Davy Bones.
So I do a lot of the voices on the show. I'm also the voice of, and it's a new character we're going to introduce in just a couple of weeks. It's Pete the Pirate Dog. And that's a little preview of a new character we have on the show coming up. But, and of course, Dana Messino Kanji plays Professor Dirty Gertie. And I also create a lot of the special effects. You really have to have a vision for this kind of stuff. You have to know what you want. And I think that's what makes it so easy for us to continue producing this kind of stuff. While Hollywood has to shut down, we can just plod on into the abyss with our blindfolds on, trying to see what we can do out of it. So I kind of create the show, the special effects in my head, what I plan to do, the reaction shots. If you can ever see it, maybe I'll do a behind-the-scenes special of what it really looks like. We shoot everything with green screens, and so we can put us in whatever element we want. Tonight we were in Egyptian caverns, and we were, outside beautiful pyramids and in a jungle, and then on the island of Dead and Buried Treasures. We were also on a pirate ship tonight. But if we have plans to do other horror films. So one of the ones coming up is Destroy All Planets, where we can put ourselves in spaceships. We can do that with Plan 9 from Outer Space. We can make ourselves black and white. It's interesting how the medium has changed, where it's not so much light bulbs and chewing gum with strings that you pull has changed a little bit to more special effects inside of a computer. But by the same token, if you notice tonight, there's a scene where I run up and Jack has a blindfold on, and I have to imagine in my head the dialogue that he's saying and time it just right, where I have to also untie Jack and free him. But I shot that scene by myself in the studio at my house, so I had to like pull his tail a little bit to make it look like he was talking and time it right, that he would be saying words while we're talking, and it's very complicated. You have to have a screw loose. I'm not even kidding. But so I guess to answer your question with a long-winded answer, I do the special effects myself. So there you go.
Wow, that is just amazing. I wanted to become a member of the fan club because I wanted to try and decode your secret messages.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched your Wicked Wednesday watch party. And
yeah.
They were so great too. Right, I'm sorry, I don't want to take up all of your time. I just want to say keep it up. And it's a pirate's life for me.
Well, it's a pirate's life for me too as well. Thank you so much, Karen. I appreciate you saying you want to become a member of the fan club. That will be a lot of fun for you. I can't tell you how many people love the decoder statue that Phoenix Comics and Toys has created for us. Rob Fleck down there runs the place, and he is just a talented artist in creating the statue. It looks pretty lifelike, like me. I mean, I was amazed at how the detail, and then I guess it took off so well. There's now a mini statue that he's created of Davy Bones and Jack, with like a decoder paper inside with some codes and things like that. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. I can't tell you the feedback I've gotten on the club and the statue and everything in between has really just been so kind and so well received by everybody. I'm so glad that we create the show, and I'm so glad to be a part of it as the host. 412-691-3803 is the number for the Pirates Booty, the official after show of Dead and Buried Treasures, and we will be taking your phone calls for about another half hour. Now we go to Deborah from, is this Wichita, Kansas? Okay, well, you need to learn how to spell, because you wrote Wichita Witchita, like the cackling witch. Wichita. What? No, it's not spelled like that. It's Wichita. Wichita. That's how it's spelled. Okay, well, we're going to have a spelling lesson on that later. I'm only a college professor, but not right now. Let's go. Right now we got Deborah from Wichita, Kansas. Deborah, maybe you could give me a spelling lesson on how Wichita is spelled. Andrew, who is this again? I'm losing track. Deborah. Deborah from Wichita, Kansas. Deborah, how is things in Wichita tonight?
Hi, Captain Drake. I just wanted to say I thought tonight's show was really cool because I got a chance to show off Professor Gertie.
Mm-hmm.
I like her character. She's strong and fun, and I really like her.
Oh, good.
Nice job tonight. I can't wait to see what you have in store next week.
Oh, well, we have a lot in store. It'll be a lot of fun, but I appreciate you bringing up Professor Gertie. Dana Messino Kanji is the only other, well, I can't say that, is the only other regular on the show that's real. And she does a wonderful job in making Professor Gertie come to life. And I don't know what I'd do without her, because she keeps me sane. And so does her husband, Rich Kanji, who hosts Walk the Plank, the pre-show that we do for Dead and Buried Treasures. Without them, the show wouldn't fly as easy as it does. And I even talked to, this is a little off the side, but Dana, I'm sure, who plays Professor Gertie, appreciates your kind words. Thank you, Deborah. And that was from Wichita, Kansas, Wichita. Anywho, But yes, as long as you brought that up, one other thing too, we have to do a little creative, constructive meandering here. Probably, we don't know how long the pandemic's going to last, obviously. They could say, oh, we found a vaccine, or it might be another year or two, or it might be this is the new normal. Hopefully it's not that. But we are going to Zoom Walk the Plank with Rich Kanji and myself. We're going to try to get the hang of that and see if we can do that as our pre-show and keep the show going on as long as we can. Everybody's making some sacrifices, but we're doing it in the realm that we can keep the show going. And I appreciate the kind words from everybody tonight saying that it's nice to have somebody, some kind of a new show that creates laughs and the ability to forget about what's going on in the world right now. And we're so glad that everybody likes that feeling. And we're not one to toot our own horn, but it's nice to have everybody calling in to say how much they appreciate the show, how much they like the show, how well it looks. Believe me, those are just not kind words that are underappreciated. Believe me, they are appreciated. And of course, Dana does a wonderful job on the show as Professor Gertie. Rich does an incredible job on the show as my co-host on Walk the Plank. And it's kind of became a community endeavor for them as well, because once in a while you'll see I like to call him our galley chef, Joe, or what he likes to call me galley chef Papa. He does his own YouTube cooking show called Cooking with Papa, where he and his granddaughter Talia are also on the show. So it's kind of nice to have them, and they can do that in their green screen, and we can shoot it here and upload it to a satellite via YouTube, and I can download it on my side that we can make it part of the show. It really is a lot of fun how we do things. So believe me, your kind words are always welcomed. It's so nice to hear those kind of that kind of feedback, especially when it's so positive. 412-691-3803 is the number for the Pirates Booty. Taking your booty calls for about another half hour. We'll be right back after this.
Now available, the first season of Dead and Buried Treasures on DVD. That's right, all you horror enthusiasts. If old movies are your thing, and even weirder pirates and ghosts, we have the perfect gift for Christmas, birthdays, Father's Day, Mother's Day. Oh hell, it's perfect for any holiday. Get one for Arbor Day.
Excellent. I love watching those funeral scenes from like the top of a castle where no one can see you, and always sticking me nose in where it's not welcome.
Starring Christopher Lee, Vincent Price, Fay Ray, Dick Miller, Richard Boone, Beautiful Women, Killer Robots, Abbott and Costello, Scrooge, Zombies, featuring the directing works of George Romero, Francis Ford Coppola, Agatha Christie, and a whole lot more. Just $79.95. But the good news is the postage is paid anywhere in the continental United States. So what are you waiting for? Get yours today and prepare yourselves for laughs.
Things like this always turn out great for us.
Just drop us a line on Facebook for details. You won't regret it, but your wallet might. That's pirate talk, you know. Get your Dead and Buried Treasures merchandise at redbubble.com with the search words Dead and Buried Treasures. T-shirts, travel mugs, hoodies, blankets, phone cases, and much, much more. You too can even take a shower with Captain Calico Drake with a shower curtain.
This is ridiculous. How is this even possible?
That's redbubble.com and use the search words Dead and Buried Treasures. So what are you waiting for? You too can be as cool as a pirate.
Yes, of course.
That's redbubble.com and search for Dead and Buried Treasures. Redbubble.com.
That I thought I would dabble in the art world myself.
That's redbubble.com and search for Dead and Buried Treasures.
They'll no doubt want to pay top dollar for me service.
Don't you wish you had a time machine? Because if you're enjoying Dead and Buried Treasures now while stuffing your face with that cheese popcorn, you could have gone back to the beginning of the night and enjoyed our pre-show as well. Walk the Plank. Walk the Plank takes you behind the scenes with series creator Erik Sprowls, Captain Calico Drake himself, as he reveals thrifty, low-budget special effects and how the show is made. Behind the scenes. Plus, host Rich Kanji takes your phone calls where you can ask your questions to the captain about upcoming shows as they gear you for the night ahead. So that time machine might have come in handy. Instead, you bought that ice cream maker that's collecting dust in the kitchen because your kids just had to have Dairy Queen and now you're paying the price. But if you remember next time, you too can watch Walk the Plank, the pre-show for Dead and Buried Treasures, and it's on about a half hour before the captain is. Plus, you can win free stuff. Just think about it, which is exactly what you should have done with that ice cream maker.
Don't miss Walk the Plank, the sister show of Dead and Buried Treasures, as it gears you up for the night ahead. 1/2 hour before Dead and Buried Treasures on most local affiliates.
That is so much better. Welcome back to Pirates Radio, WDBT, the official after show. The official after show of Dead and Buried Treasures. And I got to tell you, I was just talking with our engineer, I feels like I was talking very fast for this first half hour, doesn't it? Well, I got to tell you, here's why. I think the whole reason that they invent commercial breaks for hosts on a show is to go to the bathroom. Because I feel like as soon as he said, okay, 3, 2, 1, and you're live, then my bladder said, and you're about to be. I'm like, what? And all of a sudden, boom, there's a microphone in my face and we're live for the first half hour. I'm like, oh, I have to go to the bathroom so bad. So when that break came up, it couldn't have been any better. And I was like, oh, I gotta go. Sometimes you just gotta do God's work. That's what Bill Cosby used to do. You just gotta do God's work, you know? So I don't feel like I'm talking quite as fast right now, but the queue is still full. Let's get back to some of these calls. You're listening to... I know, right? You're listening to WDBT Pirates Radio, the official after show of Dead and Buried Treasures, sponsored again by Redbubble.com, where you can get all of your official merchandise, or as the kids call it, the official merch of Dead and Buried Treasures. T-shirts, hats, coffee mugs, computer, laptops, iPhone cases, you name it, they got it at redbubble.com. Just use the search words Dead and Buried Treasures and look for the store of Captain Calico Drake. And second, we also produced tonight, and we're also sponsored by Phoenix Comics and Toys, the official home of the Dead and Buried Treasures fan club, where you too can get your decoder statue of Captain Calico Drake and be a part of all the fun with the secret codes during the show. Up next we have, Stacy from Cincinnati, Ohio. Is that right? Stacy from Cincinnati, Ohio. I used to teach at the Art Institute in Cincinnati, Ohio. Stacy, how are things going tonight?
Good morning, Calico. Great to be on the show. I've watched your show now since almost the very beginning, and if I'm not mistaken, I think this is the first Boris Karloff film you've done, right?
Yes.
Can you tell me why?
Why? Because Boris Karloff films are so incredibly successful. Really. He's had his face on the official U.S. postage stamp twice. 3 times. Is it 3 times or 2? 3 times. Because nobody really knows who Boris Karloff is by this new generation of kids nowadays. Old school people may, because if you look at his face, he is the face of the Mummy. He's also the face of Frankenstein. And he's been on the U.S. postage stamp a couple times, and the reason we don't do more of him is because his films are all owned by somebody. Universal Pictures obviously owns the rights to Frankenstein and the Mummy. And it's funny because tonight's film, The Ghoul, fell in between the 2 years that he created those two memorable characters. In 1931, he did Frankenstein. In 1933, he did The Mummy. And in 1932, he did this movie tonight, The Ghoul, which he made another amazing and memorable character. You can see how good he was in that role tonight. But the film fell into the public domain because they lost a copy of it, and they didn't renew the copyright. So when they found this gem, it was a wonderful film that we could host tonight. He also does another movie that people don't know about that it's just not as good as his Frankenstein and Mummy characters. He did The Terror with Jack Nicholson, a very, very young Jack Nicholson. And he's done a slew of other films. But Boris Karloff will return to the show at some point. You can bet on that. 412-691-3803. Now we have Nick from the South Side. Nick, how are things tonight here in Pittsburgh?
Hi guys, this is Nick from the South Side. I'm just saying that you guys are doing a good job.
Thank you.
And keep up the good work. I would like to see 2 movies on your show, which would be Invasion of the Animal People and the one movie with Bradford Dillman. I'm trying to think of the name of it now.
Bradford Dillman?
The Resurrection of Zachary Wheeler.
Zachary Wheeler, right? Yep.
I think those 2 movies would definitely complement your show.
Yeah.
The Resurrection of Zachary Wheeler and the Invasion of the Animal People. Also, is there another movie that is similar to Invasion of the Animal People? I heard that there was, but I wasn't sure. Maybe you guys can answer that question for me. Okay, guys, keep up the good work. This is Nick from the South Side saying, "Arr, keep up the good work, hearties."
Arr, me hearties. And I think you are correct. I think you are correct, Nick. There is another movie. Now, I've never seen either one that you've suggested, but we'll take a look for you because we did the same thing for Colin in Charleroi to see if there's, when we looked up The Legend of the Seven Golden Vampires. Now, Invasion of the Animal People, there was another movie that came out in the 70s, and I remember you had called about this before, called, I believe, The Day of the Animals, which had Leslie Nielsen in it before he was a comedian. He became Frank Drebin in all the Police Squad, the Naked Gun movies. And I know that he was on Airplane 1 and 2, and he just found his niche. And basically, he played the same character that he did on Forbidden Planet and some of the other movies he did in the 70s and the 60s. Just people laughed at it and thought it was great. So that's how he made his fortune. I think he did a movie in the 70s called Day of the Animals, because I remember him at the end. I think it's like an uprising of something where these animals all come to they've had enough and they revolt against all the humans, almost like the birds in Hitchcock's 1963 picture of the birds. So that might be the one that you're thinking of. Of course, I've never seen The Invasion of the Animal People. And the Zachary Wheeler movie, we will also look into and see if it's public domain. We'll take a look for you and see what we can work out. Who knows? Maybe we'll find a gem, a diamond in the rough, so to speak. 412-691-3803 is the number for the Pirates Booty. We'll be taking your booty calls for another 20 minutes or so. And now we have Greg calling from North Carolina. Greg, how are things this evening?
Hey, Captain.
Hey.
Great show tonight.
Thank you.
It was fantastic as usual. We had a great time watching it. I thought it was a nice Egyptian flair. But my question has to do with something you did last week where when you were the guest on the Zoom panel for Terror Talk.
Oh, yeah.
With Gore Duvall and the vegetarian vampire and Stan the mechanic. That's a pretty good panel of the horror host, because I used to live in Washington, D.C., and Gore Duvall has been around for generations.
Yes, he's been around for a while.
I was very impressed at your thoughts on theaters and horror films and Hollywood taking a break while horror hosting still has the ability to create new material through old movies and the resurgence of drive-ins. So I was wondering if you could elaborate, since I have the opportunity to talk to you one-to-one about that. And by the way, it was a great show, and you were the hit of all the hosts.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate the kind words on that, as always. I had the opportunity, or rather, I guess, honor, to take part in a panel on a show called Terror Talk, where I was one of four guests, and Jay Michaels, of course, hosted it. I was on there with Gore Duvall, the legendary Gore Duvall, who's like one of the oldest horror hosts in the country. He's out of Washington, D.C. I was also on there with, I believe she's Vicky the Vegetarian Vampire, and she was one of the lead stars in the movie Phantasm. And, of course, Stan the Mechanic. He represents one of the first gay horror hosts out there. And so we were all on this big panel discussing the future of horror films now that the world's under the pandemic, and where we think it's going, how theaters are coming back. And I said, one of the things that I see more and more now is a resurgence of drive-ins. It's like a date night again, like in the 50s. Everybody goes to the drive-in. I know in down near Fayette County, there's a place called the Brownsville Drive-In, and they have cars packed in there, and they don't do just new movies. They have old movies. One night they had Goonies and Gremlins on one screen. Another night they had was it Weekend at Bernie's and Tommy Boy. I mean, so there's a resurgence of old films with older characters and stars on the screen that people will go and they pay, X amount of dollars at a carload. They go in and they watch the movies, and it's the movies are great. They just go there to get away from it for an evening, and it's like a date night. Because you don't have to go into a theater. You don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. You're in your own car, and you listen to the movie while sitting in your own car. Open up a hatch, go in there with a bunch, and you just crawl in the hatch and watch it like, the movies. So it really hasn't stopped. And so the nice thing about that is they had us all as a big panel on Terror Talk. And we talked for maybe about an hour and a half to 2 hours about the state of movies and what we believe and how we have an ability to create new material utilizing old methods. And old films. That the funny thing about that is, my parents and maybe some of my generation know who Abbott and Costello is, or Vincent Price, or Boris Karloff. Because we were kids when that stuff was out. Well, we weren't quite kids. We were older. We knew about it. But to the new generation today, anybody who's born in the 21st century, they don't even know who these people are. So it is new material to them that we give a little twist by hosting it ourselves. So it's a lot of fun. And I'm very optimistic about the future of movies. It'll get back on track someday, somehow. And I'm the same way about movies and horror hosts and the genre. So, and there's so many movies out there that I had a friend of mine say, I can't find anything new on Netflix. I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me. Everything's new on Netflix. There's literally thousands, millions of movies in history. I'm sure you can find something. So I'm pretty positive about that kind of stuff. But thank you for bringing up Terror Talk. That was a wonderful panel that I had an opportunity to guest on, courtesy of Jay Michaels. Thank you again so much. It was wonderful. 412-691-3803 is the number for the Pirates Booty, the official after show of Dead and Buried Treasures. We just got done watching our latest episode tonight, Boris Karloff, in a clean print, mind you, of The Ghoul. It was a lost film for almost 50 years, and they managed to find a copy of it, the original, at Shepperton Studios in England. And it was just clean as though it was the first day. And it's amazing how, the copies over time just get like, a copy of a copy of a copy. It's like making a photocopy of a photocopy of a photocopy. It just gets worse as you go. And they managed to find a clean print, and we hosted it tonight. But the sad thing about it is, because no one ever wanted to re-copyright the film because the quality was so bad, it fell into the public domain. And that was good for us, but bad for them. Okay, so here we go. What do we got? We got Tom from Newville, Pennsylvania. Is that correct? Good evening, Tom. Is Tom there? Tom from Newville, Pennsylvania. How are you tonight, Tom?
Ahoy, Captain.
Ahoy.
Hello, Drake. This is Tom from Newville, Pennsylvania calling in. I got to tell you, I'm loving the Wicked Wednesday watch parties on Facebook.
Oh, yeah.
It's great to have something different to do on a Wednesday night. Personally, I'm watching them sometimes at work, and I'm actually getting some of the guys that I work with interested in watching these things with me.
Oh, very cool.
Keep up the great work, and keep up the great movies. Looking forward to seeing next ones.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much, Tom. The Wednesday watch party. We do a thing on Wednesday nights called Wicked Wednesday watch parties, and we basically show some older episodes that we've done of Dead and Buried Treasures on Wednesday nights, because, everybody on Friday nights, all the horror hosts put their stuff on Friday nights. But when you do that, you kind of cancel each other out. You can't watch everybody, which is one of the reasons I wanted to do our Facebook show at midnight, because I know the Mummy and the Monkey is a fellow couple of horror hosts, and they do theirs on Facebook at 10, and they're over by 12, so we sign on at 12. But there's other hosts, Fright Night Theater with the Spooky Spectre, Elvira, Sven Ghoulies on Me TV on Saturdays. They have Carlos Borloff. They have all these other hosts and things on, and we tend to cancel each other out because you can't watch everything. And so we, in the middle of the week on Wednesdays, we did what we called a Wicked Wednesday watch party, where we would do our show a little bit earlier. We would do like a 9 o'clock show, where we would do the show at 9 and maybe our pre-show at 8:30. And we've gotten a lot of great feedback on it. A lot of people watch. A lot of people IM me about it. They text me about it. They write me emails about it. Remarkable, because I'll get phone call after phone call, but then I won't get any likes. It's like, okay, I got like 50 phone calls tonight. Oh, that's awesome. How many people are watching? Oh, it's hard to tell, but I can see people signing in. I see them like, oh, here's another name, blah, 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 signed in, blah, 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 signed in, blah, 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 signed in. At the end of the night, how many likes you got? 2. And it's like, oh my God, it makes us look like we're the most unsuccessful idea ever. But the truth of the matter is, I get all these emails and messages, and that we try to answer in a post-show or an after-show or a pre-show, but maybe they just don't like it. But we're going to keep it going. We like it, and I'm glad. Thank you, Tom, for the call and the kind words from Newville, Pennsylvania. 412-691-3803 is the number for the Pirates Booty. We're still taking your booty calls. Next up, we have Scotty. Scott calling from, here we go, Kentucky. How are things in Kentucky, Scott? Scott there?
Hey, Captain.
There you are.
Kentucky. I have to call in and say, great show as always.
Thank you.
The special effects were top-notch.
Thank you.
But I've got a question for you. Seeing that I'm a student of television production myself, I was wondering, how do you do all those effects in your studio? All the caverns, the backgrounds, and explosions.
Oh.
How do you do all that while social distancing?
How do we do that while social distancing? As the commercial used to say, ancient Chinese secrets, Scotty. No, We have a series of green screens, and you just have to be able to have a little imagination. Do you remember when you were a kid? And I don't know if anybody else has ever done this, but when I was a kid, we'd always play I'd have friends here at my dad's house, and we had a great big porch, and the porch overlooked a yard. And that was when I was a kid, and you have a great active imagination. That, to me, was the bridge of the Enterprise, and we would play Star Trek. And I was always Captain Kirk, and then there was a Mr. Spock and a Dr. McCoy, and then there was a Scotty. No one was ever the red shirt. No one wanted to get killed, but we were Star Trek. And we'd use our imaginations, and we'd be on the Enterprise on the porch, and when we beamed down to the planet, we would actually jump off the porch, and we beamed down to the planet. We would have adventures and play around and do stuff, and that kind of thing. It's kind of like, when kids were younger, at least my generation. I don't know what they do now. I mean, they play Halo. But it's kind of the same theory. Instead of playing Halo and War on your TV, you would play it for real with cap guns and fake fights and stuff like that. You just have to have a little imagination. So when you ask how we do the special effects and how we react to things, in tonight's episode specifically, there's a couple of shots where Professor Gertie's creating some kind of a curse to resurrect the mummy through me, and you see lightning and rain inside the pyramid and things like that. You just have to have a good imagination, and you just have to, react to those kind of things, because obviously I'm not really in a cavern. I'm not really dodging lightning. I'm not really dealing with rain. I'm in a very dry studio with a green screen behind me, and you have to just be able to have an active imagination and do these kind of things. That's all. And sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't. So hopefully tonight it looked a little bit real, and so. You just got to have a screw loose. That kind of helps too. Thank you, Scotty. 412-691-3803 is the number for the Pirate's Booty. And this next call, did you say Apu from New Delhi? New Delhi, like India. India, New Delhi? Well, I have a friend, it was actually the best man in my wedding years ago that teaches in Mongolia. I thought, so you have a call from New Delhi. Oh, you know why? Because, Facebook's everywhere. Now, I know, for example, the gentleman I know that lives in Mongolia is 12 hours behind us. So right now it would be what? A little, what would that be? 3:30 in the afternoon there? Is that correct? I'm probably not doing my math right. What do I know? But so this call is from Apu from New Delhi in India. Are you serious? Well, hey, okay, well, hello. So we have New Delhi on the phone. Hello, how are things all the way around the world?
Hello, Captain.
Hello.
Erik, my name is Apu, calling from Delhi. I was wondering, because I have watched the show for some time, are you a fan of the X-Files? I ask because you have some funny episodes, and you have some standalone, and then you'll have some that deal with mythology. You have. I'm wondering how long does it take for you to put together an episode?
Oh, how long it takes to put together an episode? Well, there's a reason we do it monthly. Really, it takes that long because you have to write it, then you got to script it, then you got to get the things together, the costumes, the crew, the actors. You got to give them their lines. You have to shoot it, then you have to edit it. Editing takes the longest. Because there was a call from Kentucky that asked how do we do the special effects. 100% of the show is a special effect. That's 100%. And when you do those kind of effects, you need to put a lot into it. In fact, we're probably going to do a behind-the-scenes look at what we do on the show, so people can see. It's really amazing what we do. It's completely amazing what we do here. It takes about a month to do. with the pandemic, it hasn't made things easier. So this one took about a month and a half. We were just waiting on that last line that we needed, and it just didn't get through for a while. But it takes about that long. And we appreciate you watching. I guess you said you've been watching for some time. So if you're really, do we still have the call? Is Pooh there? Hello? Not there? Well, it's a shame. If you call all the way around the world, I'd like to have talked to him a little bit longer. But if you're really calling from New Delhi in India, that's some distance away, and I guess you would have watched the show through YouTube, which we have a channel for our episodes. So we stockpile some episodes there for Dead and Buried. The channel name for YouTube is Dead and Buried Treasures. Dead and Buried Treasures. And off of that channel, you have playlists for Walk the Plank, the show itself, the Pirate's Booty, commercials, some of the things we've done. Then you have another folder that's premiere night, where this particular episode will premiere, as always, on YouTube 2 nights after it premieres on our flagship station, BPTV in Bethel Park, Pittsburgh area. That's always on a Friday night. And then YouTube will get the premiere. And I think it's if you're listening to this show live on Facebook or on Bethel Park TV after we just had our premiere, and you're listening to us live, not a recorded message, you will see that it premieres Sunday night on our YouTube channel. In fact, if you were to go to our YouTube channel right now and try to play it, it would not let you play it. It says premiere with a countdown. And it plays it at real time on Sunday night. So to a Pooh in New Delhi, I guess he cheated and watched it on Facebook tonight instead of YouTube, because we did a lot of heavy marketing on this, so that doesn't surprise me. But I appreciate the call, and it's kind of neat to know that we're reaching people all the way around the world. That is really nice, not just here in America. But we had a call from Canada last time, and there we had one from Kentucky and little things like that, but now we had one from India. That's interesting. We have time for one last call tonight. I'm sorry we couldn't get to everybody, but please continue to send us text messages, IM us, and leave messages on our voicemails. The phone line is always 24 hours. You can always ask any kind of question you want on the show. We're going to take one last call tonight. This is coming from Linda. Linda from Fayette County. How are things in Fayette County tonight? Oh, yeah, we're back on in Fayette County, so that's pretty cool. How are things tonight, Linda?
Hello, Captain Drake. Permission to come aboard.
Granted.
Hey, we wanted to call and say we really love your show.
Thank you.
And we're so glad that it's back on in Fayette County.
Yeah.
I know for a while there it was on California University's television channel.
Mm-hmm.
But then when the pandemic occurred and the school closed, I know that the TV channel went to all satellite and no original program.
Yeah.
I'm glad to see that you managed to find your way to Channel 77 at FCTV.
Sure.
Now, can you tell us what the plan is now that you're on Channel 77 in Fayette County, and will you be there permanently?
Well, that is the plan. Linda, thank you for your call. That is the plan. Sorry I had to cut you short, but we wanted to produce an hour show tonight. Thank you again for your call, Linda. Let me answer your questions. Yes, we were off the air in Fayette County for, I don't know, about a month or two. We had just started our run in Fayette County too, which was so disheartening. We were on Channel 62 on California University Television, CUTV, that I am very well acquainted with. And Gary Smith at the TV station I am an alumni there, so he put our show on the air, and it was really nice of Gary and the crew at CUTV. And then all of a sudden the pandemic happened, and the university closed. And because the university closed, they had no one to man the station, so they put it on a 24-hour satellite, and we could not be on any longer. So we had tons of floods of calls coming in saying, hey, how come your show's not on anymore? And I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. We can't do anything about it. And then somebody somewhere suggested, I want to say it was the gentleman who plays the Spooky Spectre at Fright Night Theater, said to me, hey, we got a show. We're still doing our show on Channel 77 on Saturday nights. And I thought, huh. And I said, what time do they do there? At 11 o'clock. I said, well, I don't want to take that slot, obviously. You're doing it. I said, but Friday night's open. And I thought, oh, that's kind of a nice deal. So Dead and Buried Treasures is on Fridays at 11. And Fright Night Theaters is on Saturday nights at 11. And it was kind of like a nice weekend kind of set of bookends. You know, I do something, he does something, or Fright Night does something, and Dead and Buried Treasures does something. So we're back on Channel 77 in Fayette County. Thank you. I feel like Welcome Back, Cotter. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. You know, if you were a good engineer, you'd have a song like that queued up. All right, well, maybe next time. Thank you, Gabe Kaplan. Gabe Kaplan, of course, played Welcome Back, Cotter. So, well, that's our show for tonight. Wish we could have gotten to everybody, but please call, leave voicemails, call us on instant messaging. You can always email us, Facebook, instant message, text message us at the 412-691-3803 number. As always, we will answer as many questions as we can. We get them all the time over the course of the month, and we try to get back to everybody. Thank you to everyone who helped in tonight's show, tonight's production, including Andrea Bradley, Adriana Bradley, Dana Messino-Kanji, Rich Kanji, Greg Costa, Linda Costa. We had a lot of people help out in producing the show, including my engineer, and that's right, Larry Duvall. And we appreciate him on the air as well for putting the show together for the Pirates Booty. We will be back next month. I believe we're hosting Plan 9 from Outer Space, marketed as the worst movie ever made. But I think after that, we might take... There was a caller we used to have on the show called Colin from Charleroi, and he suggested the Legend of the Seven Golden Vampires, and we may go with that one. We'll see. We were supposed to do Burnt Offerings in September, but I'm told it's copyrighted now. Now, I know in September I would like to do a non-horror film, and the reason I want to do it is it's a pirate film, and I wanted to do Long John Silver. And it might be public domain. I'm going to check into that because the month of September is Speak Like a Pirate Month. So we might do that. I know the Renaissance Festival has moved to October, so we might do a pirate month in September. So again, thank you to everyone who called in. We will try to get to more of your calls next time. Please keep calling. You will get through. If you ever call the number and it goes to voicemail, please leave a voicemail. We answer that as well. If you're not able to get into the queue. And that's it. We're going to head out. And in about an hour, we produce the show. How about that? Huh? That's right. Yeah, an hour long. Well, maybe a little bit more. Well, the commercials take up time. Right. So again, thank you to everyone. We will see you next time on the Pirates Booty. And don't forget, keep watching Dead and Buried Treasures. Keep watching our Wicked Wednesday watch parties on Wednesday nights on our Facebook page. Please check out our YouTube premiere on Sunday night and some of the episodes there if you need to catch up. You can always see us on all of our affiliates, BPTV, Comcast Channel 7, and Verizon 32 in Bethel Park. That's our flagship station. PCTV Channel 21 in downtown Pittsburgh. In fact, if you're really missing us, you could turn this on right now at 2 in the... Well, it's a little late now, but you could see the last part of another episode on PCTV Channel 21. You can also see us on FCTV Channel 77 on Atlantic Broadband in Fayette County. CUTV Channel 62 when the university's back up and running. And is there anybody I forgot? The Vortex. That's right. You can see us on the Vortex. As a matter of fact, Saturday night at 9 o'clock. That's tomorrow night. Or, go to bed and get up on Saturday night at 9 o'clock. And I believe we're doing the episode, hosting the movie The Bat with Vincent Price on there, where Calico Drake does battle with the Caped Crusader on the high seas. So make sure you check us out for that. And the Vortex is at horrorhost.net. That's the home for horror hosts, and you can check us out on Saturday night. And also WTMC, the Monster Channel. We're also on the Monster Channel with movies there from time to time, and I think that is everybody, and we are out of time. Again, my name is Erik Sprowls. I'm also the series creator of Dead and Buried Treasures and Captain Calico Drake, and we'll see you next time. But remember, until then, it's a pirate's life for me. Take care, everybody. Stay healthy.
Thank you.
Don't miss the absolute worst in monster movie mayhem on Dead and Buried Treasures.
You know, Captain, we should be recording this.
You know, Jack, we should be recording.
This weekend and every Friday and Saturday night at 11 with our pre-show live at 10:30 on this Right Network affiliate and our Facebook and YouTube pages, if you dare.
Is it wrong that I want their autograph?
Get your Dead and Buried Treasures merchandise at redbubble.com with the search words Dead and Buried Treasures. T-shirts, travel mugs, hoodies, blankets, phone cases, and much, much more. You too can even take a shower with Captain Calico Drake with a shower curtain.
This is ridiculous. How is this even possible?
That's redbubble.com and use the search words Dead and Buried Treasures. So what are you waiting for? You too can be as cool as a pirate.
Yes, of course.
That's redbubble.com and search for Dead and Buried Treasures. Redbubble.com.
That I thought I would dabble in the art world myself.
That's redbubble.com and search for Dead and Buried Treasures.
They'll no doubt want to pay top dollar for me service.